Microphone check. All right, cool. I hear myself, so I know I'm good. All right, everyone. Hello, welcome to my screen on a interesting Thursday here. Hang on a second. I'm going to do something. There we go. All right, I just bought some more of that. I'm not doing a whole lot, although I did notice in the middle of the night, silver was really starting to take off and break out, I should say. And a lot of the silver stocks that I've been trying to play lately haven't really worked, like CDE. All of these past days were difficult. And so, long story short, this is a very small cap silver mining stock that I just thought might come to life. And I noticed some great volume on the open. So I jumped in. I just kind of added to my position right there. So, other than that, I'm not doing a whole lot in the market. Yesterday was Fed Day, as you guys know. I'll just start rambling here. Usually, what I do is I'll just start rambling about trading until somebody has a question. But I do want to say hello and remind people that this session Monday through Friday at this time is really designed for the Trade Ideas users. If there's any support questions or any demonstrations that are needed, this is where you let me know. Other than that, we can talk about trading. I'm always happy to look at people's charts, especially when you tell me like more about it, like if you're long or short or thinking about getting in or whatnot. I can kind of maybe help people with trade management. We can do whatever you want, but diving into the technicals here, this blue line, excuse me, let me get my illustrator. For those of you that follow me, you know I don't have a lot of moving averages or a lot of indicators, but I do like this 130 SMA. Brian Shannon taught me this, and it's essentially a 5-day moving average, which allows me to visualize it on the intraday versus the daily. Why do my charts keep focusing on something else? So that said, the NASDAQ, by way of the Qs, they got through it this morning, and then they busted through it again, but they're getting hung up here. I pretty much, again, safe to say. Let's look at the S&P 500. Again, this is just kind of a top-down intraday approach for what I like to do. And this is a bit interesting too, you guys. You see how level of interest kind of blew through here on the open, but it's pulled back down and bounced up again. So this is definitely a key pivot level. I'm going to call it that. It's not a price level, but it's a 5-day moving average. And it's, again, illustrated on the intraday 15-minute time frame, which gives me a much more interesting way to look at it. And again, I just want to let people know, it doesn't mean do anything. It just means it helps you evaluate your positions. So HYMC was just doing nothing, and then burst through it. And once it breaks through and starts grinding higher on good green volume, big volume here, relative volume is extremely strong today in this silver miner stock. If you're recently joining, that's why I'm in this. 6 times normal volume. So it's definitely exploding off the bottom here. And I'm not interested in scalping this. I just added to it here, and that's what my concept is. The second line is the 10 SMA, and this is my momentum line. This is where I judge a stock is in momentum, and as traders, we want to be in and riding the momentum like a wave. I like to surf this wave right here. This wave just kind of tells me what's in play, how it's doing. Is it sick? Is it under pressure? Is it holding on? But the wave of momentum is my 15-minute 10 SMA. I don't know if it's going to hold on. It might pull back and close lower. That's okay. But what I see on the daily chart, again, is just a major top-down approach of silver coming to life here. Look at this volume spike, and it's only midday. So we're going to have a big volume bar at the end of the day. when we've got gold miners and GDX and other stocks, look at these sectors charts here. They're breaking out nicely. This looks nothing like the S&P nor the NASDAQ on the daily. But when we pull the GDX back up, it's like, oh, wow, gold miners are breaking out. Well, if we look at the gold ETF, GLD, it's definitely broken out as well. And I think we actually hit a new all-time high here a little while ago this morning, right there. A little hair. So not doing too much. I'm only in one other stock, and it's kind of under pressure. I'm a little frustrated, but we can use this as an illustration of what I'm letting happen here. This is not really a technical play. It's more of a headline play. MindMed is a stock that has a giant short float, 36%. Michael Noss and I both love playing in and out of this thing. And you can see on the daily, it just can't get out of its own way. Well, this is an anti-big pharma stock. And when I say this is a headline play, if you saw the news yesterday, RFK Jr. is trying to shake the industry upside down, and they're kind of scared of him. If he gets nominated, I think he will. This is my bet that he will get nominated. Companies like MindMed that do psychedelics instead of SSRIs and antidepressants, they do other mushrooms and psilocybin and whatnot. You know, we're entering a whole new paradigm and kind of getting rid of the old way of doing things. And this is a play that I'm in. So technically looking at it, I'll start with the daily. It's a mess. However, it's holding this 10 SMA and 20, so solid footing right there. It's just one good stone's throw close away from breaking out here above the 50 and the 200. So a big wall of 4 layers, if you will, of moving averages right here. Now, if I shift to the intraday perspective, there's my 5-day, and we broke down through it. But we've come back up to challenge it, and now we've got half an hour's worth of fight. And now what I call here, this is a completely a test. This is a test. The price action has cornered itself. The 50S, the 5-day moving average is the support, and the declining 10, that momentum line, is coming down to ask for a resolution. Now we're going to resolve one way or the other here pretty soon. We're either going to, that 10 SMA is either going to break the price back down, and I'm not going to feel comfortable about this trade because it's going to come back down here and start testing these moving averages on my daily, or it's going to resolve and pop up, and this 5-day moving average will tell me, hey, the buyers are back. They're holding the good side, the bright side of this 5-day moving average. So, all right, guys, I'm doing a lot of talking. I'm pretty sure you hear me, but I don't see any questions. I just want to double check that nobody is putting any questions in there because I don't see them. But feel free to ask anything. Like I said, I can look at charts. I can help with scans. There we go. Here's Edwin. What's up? Hello, sir. I'm fine. How are you? Happy to help with whatever you need. Quite a list of questions. Okay, well, you know, somebody has to step up. Do my best. Well, Edwin's typing. I'm just evaluating this HYMC. I need it to hold. Got another 5 minutes on this 15-minute candle. Really like to see it just squeeze in here and dig in where the buyers and the short sellers, mind you, if they're 8% short, they're trying to cover to get out of their shorts. But the buyers, what I want to see, and if a stock is in good motion, it'll hold that level. All right, Edwin's up. When I do charting, is there a way if I can chart on the 15-minute that we can see those lines on the 1 or 2? Yeah, let's just, when you say those lines, I assume you mean the moving averages. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start off by immediately giving you a starting point. I'm giving you my chart setting, and anybody else that wants it in the chat. you can open up that code if you need help with it. I can show you, but we're on a 15-minute. And as far as the indicators go, I've got a 10 SMA and a 130. Now, the 130 is tricky to transpose the chart lines when you draw. Okay, thanks for clarifying that. Let's take a look. I don't do a lot of chart lines, but let's assume I'm going to take a line right here and draw, anchor, and release. Anchor and release. Double click to release. There we go. I can move that around. All right, so what if I take that line and I change my time frame to 2 minute? It's not there, is it? Okay, so that's a good question. So you've obviously tried that and it's not showing up for you. So I understand your question. Let's do this. Let's assume that you draw your line, but if you need to see that same line on another time frame and it's not transposing, you could consider duplicating what you have and then changing the duplicate to a 2 minute. And look, there it is. That was interesting. It worked that way. So it worked by me duplicating the chart, then changing the time frame. Pepe, I might have just learned something. You paying attention? Let's check that. So let's see again, if I go to a 2 minute, does that horizontal line show up? No, it does not. Oh, yes, it does. I'm sorry. My bad. It looks like it just, or is that the, no, that's my price alert. No, disregard. So let's go back. Let's try again. There he is. All right, Pepe, check this out. So if I change to a 2 minute chart from a 5 minute, 15 minute, excuse me, I have this horizontal line I drew here at 234. Let's take the price alert off. Now we only have one line remaining. So the question by the user was, can I just go to a 2 minute? Where's that line? It's not transposing. So I stumbled across a hack, which is if you duplicate the window and then go to the time frame, oh, you know what? Maybe it did. Maybe I was confusing myself with the price alert. I was getting all excited there. Okay, so it didn't transpose. So back to square one, Edwin, it just looks like you might have to draw a secondary line and you might have to have two charts. If you're really intent on having two time frames, you'd have to draw that line on both charts because it doesn't appear that we can do that. Now, I can request and see if it's possible, you know, to make that change work because it definitely isn't. I can report that. Let's see what your other questions are. The alert that showed up. Thank you. Yeah, I talked myself into a corner. Hey, my HYMC is proving my theory, you guys, that the 10 SMA will hold the bidders of a high relative volume momentum move. The pullback is short, but it was just enough to kind of reset. Okay, I'll make a note on that, Edwin. I'll do what's called a ticket, and I'll send that to the developers and see if I'm missing something. One, I don't think I did, and you didn't either. Okay, yeah. Let's switch to Hutch real quick here. The details box doesn't have all the info. Yours does. Can you help me configure that? So details box, we've got two. If you're talking about this one in the chart, we cannot change that, but I don't use that. You'll notice, I'll take a look at your next question, Edwin. You'll notice this is the single stock window, and I use this religiously. I love to see the relative volume, of course. I love to see the average daily volume. I love to see the, right now, HYMC is asleep. It's doing normal 5 minute volume, but it's not doing anything in the 1 minute time frame. So when it starts really going earlier, these were like 1,000 levels, you know, 10 times normal, 2,000, 20 times normal. So that's a good feature for me. But regardless of what you want in here or what I have in here, you can put your own stuff in here. all you do is right click and go to configure. And anything in this search term that you find, just click and say show column, and you'll add and remove ideas from your single stock window, Hutch. And then when you're done with that, make sure to save your layout as the default layout. All right. Second question, Edwin. Does the AI Holly or the new one also trade after hours? So the new one is not live yet. I assume you speak of the money machine. That one is not live yet. And even if it was, the same answer would be for both. There will be no auto trading in pre-market or post-market. It's not safe. You can, however, manually trade pre-market and post-market if you're using limit orders and you pay attention to the brokerage plus menus, which make sure that you've got the right strategies set up. You know, limit, and then pre-market, fill, pre and post. That's how you would do that in the brokerage plus. You can do that right now. The Holly AI does not auto trade, and it doesn't trade in regular hours auto trade either. So that's all manual. Edwin. How's my mind med doing? It needs to resolve. Ooh, it's really fighting. It's really trying to hold that level. Okay, good. I'm glad that helps. Edwin. Ooh, market. Nope. I keep tricking myself. I'm zooming in somehow. Well, still. Ooh. Ooh, once again, this 5-day moving average has grabbed the price and thrown it back down below. So that's kind of a negative strike for me trying to be bullish at the moment. Let's check in on the bellwether of NVIDIA. Darn it. This seems like a new issue with me, this stupid chart. I'm going to do something here real quick. I'm just going to save my layout again. See if I can lock in a better version here. Because my chart keeps zooming. And I don't like that. All right, number 3, Edwin. On the chart window, if I have a 15-minute time frame, where do I see how much time is left for the next candle? It's always going to be quarters. So if you pay attention to my screen, it's always going to be, we're at 9:18 Pacific, 12:18 Eastern. It's going to be quarter after, 30 after, and 45, and top of the hour. So that's how I look down and I see a candle. I'm like, ooh, it's 29 after the hour. I'll go back to this mind med because I'm curiously watching which way it's going to close. There we go. That's what I want to see. So I can't get too excited because that could wick on me, but the closing candle is where I make my kind of deciphered decision or take in the input. But that's still 11 minutes away. So I use 15-minute, Edwin, because I'm a swing trader. I can turn around, do some emails, do a live session, and not have to focus intently on level 2 or all the bids and offers. I know where my levels are, and if I don't want to miss something, like let's say, for instance, I was very light in this mind med, and I wanted to wait for this 5-day moving average to confirm that it's holding, and if it pops back up above 730, I could put a price alert right there, and the price alert grabs my attention no matter what I'm doing, and I can quickly pull up and manually add another chunk. It doesn't have a timer necessarily. We don't really have a timer at all. I'm trying to think. I use, I'm not going to pull it up, but I use my brokerage platform. It's got a timer to the second. So that's the way I do it. I use my brokerage counter or my computer clock. And so I've got 4 periods every hour where I can take a look and see how something closed relative to what I want to see. So back to mind med. I want to, yep, see, just like I said, it could easily wick back down. Yeah, I don't think we have one. I don't think we have a clock. If you're on a live brokerage platform, um, I mean, like I use Schwab or Thinkorswim, it gives me a second counter to the second. You could start your iPhone stopwatch. All right, let's check in on what I really am kind of heavy in here, HYMC. And my plan for this is I fully expect HYMC to get up here and test the 200-day like it did back here. So all these little gyrations are not going to really bother me. I'm just sitting on my hands knowing that I got a great price down here at 15. It was this first bar. I bought it 10 minutes after the open. No clock. Yeah, if Pepe says no clock, then I've been confirmed. I thought there was talk about it at one time, but never materialized, because I think what the developer said was, don't people have other clocks? We're a scan. Now, that being said, we do have a filter, that allows you to stop seeing certain scans after a certain time. Like if you don't want to see, or before, and a lot of people do this, they might suppress the first 10 or 15 minutes of the day so they don't get all this noise. We do have a time filter, but we don't have a countdown clock, especially for the time frame that you're on. You just have to look at the clock. All right, okay, super system yesterday. That was Dan yesterday. What does the position message mean on the super system you shared yesterday? Let me see. I'm not sure, because it was not me yesterday. That was Dan. Learning some song lyrics. Let me just turn this on here. I haven't done anything with this. I assume you mean this. Position message. I turn that on. All right, I'll jump to Alex real quick. Having trouble with charts. How do I navigate it more easier? Yeah, I'll show you some. Okay, not message. Position MG. Ring RNG %. Is it on my screen? I'm not seeing it. Trade ticket? No. Yeah, because I'm not sure. He might have had a different. This is an older version I'm actually running, so he might be dead end there. All right, let me backtrack to Alex. All right, Alex, first and foremost, most important thing that I use is holding the control key down and then using the mouse wheel. If I just use the mouse wheel, that doesn't help anybody. And if you see this arrow right here, this resets everything to where you want it. Okay, now if I want to zoom out, I'll click the chart, I'll hold the control key down, a position and range. Okay, I'll explain that. And then if I hold the control key down, then use the mouse wheel, I'm thinking this is kind of what you're asking about, Alex. You're having trouble with charts and how to navigate them. It kind of solves all problems when you're able to do that. Now you also, over here, you see how my cursor changes? It goes to the up and down arrow. Just the mouse wheel by itself over here on the axis. Whoops. Hold the control key down again. Let's see. Wait a second. What the hell? Why isn't that working? Hold on. Oh boy, it's supposed to change. Okay, disregard that for the moment. The zooming in and out with the control key really should help. Can you show me some tricks to make it more user friendly? Um, if you ever see this arrow, just click that arrow and it'll take you back to the center point. And then I just use that control key. But I wonder why it's not zooming in and out. Let me go over here. That's strange. That's supposed to zoom in. That's supposed to scrunch up and down, kind of like trading view. When I hold the control key down, it does the normal thing. But there's no difference. Okay. Might have just found another bug. How do you change the volume bar? You can, if you look down here, you can kind of. There's also some buttons down here you can use as well. If you didn't know that, they appear when you hover over them. I do have the browser interface enabled, so that's what's kind of throwing me because I can see the cursor is changing. It's a real slight grab, but if you just, there it is, right? It's a hard one to get, but if I can just grab it, you can up and down size the volume if that's what you're talking about. There we go. See how the cursor changed? Like I'm trying to get it to change on the side, but that might help you as well if you want. And then press that button, resets everything, control key, zoom in, zoom out. That's the extent of how I use it. So Edwin, it's the position and range. And so it's a column that I don't really use. It just means like 50% you're in the middle between it doesn't do it for you. Are you on the latest version, Alex? And again, you have to get that crosshair to line up just right and get those up and down mouse cursor. Like right there, that cursor. Okay, back to it's not allowing me to add the 5-day range, and it's not allowing me to add the columns. I think you need to pop it out. And so if you're on a channel or a docked window, I believe you have to pop out the okay, just go to explosives. And now there's only certain columns you can add. And let's see. You wanted to do 5-day range. So if you take this one and you uncheck tree map, you should be able to configure and add 5-day range. 5-day range percent, and then you do show column. So what I did that maybe was tricking you up is this down here is defaulted to a tree map. You can turn the tree map off, and then you can get to the configure and you can make some more changes. I hope that helps. I don't think you need to pop out anything. It just looks like you need to turn it back to a topless window. Then you can go back to a tree map if you want. Or you can just do it straight from configure. But that's where the secret sauce is. When you turn off tree map and then double click 5-day range, now the tree map should be sorting after you've sorted the top list window, double clicking like in Excel, then show tree map. There we go. You can be able to sort that way. Maybe that will help. Hutch. How do I change the color in the volume bars? Let's see. It might be under chart style. or it might be under indicators. Yeah, edit indicators. So indicators, right click, then you go to edit, and then from your volume, you can modify colors there. There's two different paths you can go down. There's the chart style, and then there's the indicator, which volume is an indicator, so it's not a chart style. So that's where it would be. Right click in indicators. Still barely holding on to this line here in my silver stock. Okay, which strategy do I use? I don't use a whole lot of strategies. I like to look at short floats for sure, but I've been trading so long that I kind of just use a watch list of things that I've caught and watched. One of the strategies I'll use mostly is like a new price alert. A stock that I'm watching, I'll create a price alert that tells me when the stock price moves through that line. But to answer your question, Trade Ideas is a great program, especially for new traders, but you can use it however you want. And I've developed my own little kind of style over a couple of decades. And I just kind of trade the watch list of what's in play. So today I know this is my sector list. Okay, these are all ETFs. And China and gold miners are just extremely strong today, hands above the rest, because I noticed that gold was strong. So I use that kind of top-down approach, and I'm a swing trader, so I know there's 3 or 4 stocks in each sector that I'm familiar with and I like to trade, and I just start trying to find where the relative volume and the momentum is. That's how I found myself in a big position relative in this HYMC this morning, because I know it's done nothing, but all the gold mining and silver mining stocks are coming to life today, and this is a laggard play, and I got a great price on it. So there's no indicator that popped up and told me to buy HYMC. It's pretty much all me. All right, what's up, Tony? In B plus live with E-Trade, how many auto strategies have you found that B plus can handle? That's probably a better question for Chris, because I don't do a lot of the support for the auto trading and especially for E-Trade. But without trouble, there's a couple things you can do to avoid trouble. One is not trading the first 5 minutes auto, because there's so much noise that and if you're trading tight stops and things, you're just certain to get knocked out. You don't want to trade strategies that might overlap, although you can control 2 different strategies not trading in the same stock, so you don't get a duplicate trade in the same stock. I would ask Chris for a definitive number, but I see no reason why you shouldn't be able to do 3 to 5 strategies. And again, don't have them turned on right at the open. You'll save everybody a lot of hassle by not getting caught up in that waterfall of data. Let the data kind of sort itself out and let the plumbing kind of settle out and the pressure equalize before you start deploying auto strategies. All right, I'm noticing the NASDAQ's making a 30-minute low. That's an indicator I use. It's not telling me to do anything, but it's telling me that the NASDAQ's Qs are still under pressure a little bit. And market-wise, okay, the steeper this downward slope gets, the more pressure the market's going to be under. It needs to get back above this 5-day moving average and start building for the bulls. All right, cool, Tony. Alex, how do I get back to my setup when I accidentally click on another channel bar? Okay, so a couple things to consider here. Your default layout is what I've got right now. And if I go new, I'm sorry. Okay, if I open the channel bar, which I can do, if I click into one of these pre-configured layouts, I'm going to lose my default layout. And a lot of people don't like that. And I get that. So what we recommend is we incorporated the channel bar into what we call a dock. The dock channel bar gives you a separate working space. Now you can go into explosive winners and you haven't touched your existing layout. And you can bounce around from channel to channel and still keep your existing layout. So I'm going to turn that off. That's the answer to that, Edwin. Excellent. We made it through your questions, Edwin. I'm glad. That's why we do it, because for anybody listening, it's too hard. We don't take phone calls for this kind of stuff because you need to see it. And the people on the phones aren't traders. So you can come to chat, but we can talk and we can do screenshots. And we can't do a screen share and come into your computer and set it up for you. We don't have that time. But we have an hour each day where a qualified trader and support rep here, and Dan, of course, yesterday, if you missed that, every Wednesday now you can get access to the CEO, bypass us, and hear it directly from the horse's mouth, what's going on and what's coming. But Monday through Friday at 12 Eastern for an hour, you get this full hour, and Edwin just made the best of it. He's a new user. It's a complicated product, but everybody uses it differently, and we want you to get the best out of it because we've seen it. It's really easy for people to open it, look around, take a deep breath, and then they just go, screw it. I don't have time for this. And I get it. Some people are like that. But other people, are persistent and they want to help and come to the middle, and we can help you come to the middle here on these midday sessions that we do. And Edwin and Alex are getting a good help from it. Can I trade with any exchange, TI? I don't have to change it to a specific exchange. The orders are going to be routed through basically your broker's smart system. So Interactive Brokers has their smart order routing. You can't control how you send your orders. Now, there are great, one of our partners out there, Centerpoint Securities, they're one of the best, I call like a Ferrari. Traders can short, go long, they can route their orders to dark pools. They can do amazing things, but that's all manual, like a race car driver throwing the stick around, and heel toe shifting and all that. But for auto trading, all we can do is send the order, and then your broker handles the order. So it's going to go through. And I'll say this, I'm very happy with what Schwab does with my market orders. I see exactly what happens every time. I always get a midpoint order, and it's always price improvement. Sometimes I'll get, 0.2 of a cent off the bid when I hit market. I don't get the full offer. So I'm making 0.8 of a cent, on a few thousand shares just by hitting market. I'm not afraid to hit market order. So I'm not afraid of the routing that they give us if it's a good broker. Hopefully that answers your question. Once the signal on our end is given, it's up to your broker, whether it's Alpaca, E-Trade, or Interactive Brokers, on how that order is routed. You can't control where it goes. All right, my mind med is just not giving it. It's giving me that wick I talked about earlier. It's kind of giving me the middle finger there. It just doesn't want to resolve itself back up into the good, happy zone up here. So what I do is it's a swing trade, and if it wants to close down here near lows by the end of the day, I'm just going to say screw it. I'm not taking that risk home. I want to take risk home when it's broken out in green above. Then I'm not guessing. They could be offering a secondary, or some insiders know something, and I'm not going to chance it. I just let the indicators tell me what to do. Oh yeah, without a doubt, Alex. What I'm going to do is briefly tell you, a Centerpoint, if you become a customer of theirs, they will pick up your trade ideas a fee, and that's why I said we're partners with them. So it's a good symbiotic relationship we have with them. If you're somebody who likes to short things, like I bet they were just licking their chops over there at Centerpoint a couple weeks ago, waiting for stocks to just run out of gas, like this Qubit and others. There's some really good traders that fade giant parabolic moves, and they do so with Centerpoint because Centerpoint literally has the best borrowing book out there. They'll get it for you. You might have to pay a little bit to hold it overnight, and the borrowing cost to short, the margin fees are there. But these traders that are over there, they're all professionals, or a niche that I know of anyway, and they're really good at shorting. Some of them are, and they use Centerpoint because, one, they have access to many different routes. Like I said earlier, if you're somebody who's adept in knowing how to route your orders, I would hands down recommend Centerpoint. And like I just said, as a bonus, if you open up an account with them, they should pick up your trade ideas subscription. So it's a good win-win deal. but their locate list is incredible. You'll look up and see shares not available at E-Trade or Interactive, but Centerpoint has it. You might have to pay a little bit for it, but they'll find it for you. So they're the complete professional traders one-stop shop. Hey, that's always nice. This is my full watch list right here. And when I'm in the one stock at the top of my watch list, I feel like I'm doing something right. Yeah, there we go. Now we're getting some push off of this just confirms to me that the relative volume and the breaking of the downtrend and the fact it's a gold miner that has been sleeping just came to life. I mean, we're going to do tremendous relative volume for the day. And all I want to see is this 10 SMA hold here. Now, when we get to this level, maybe I sell 20%. Actually, no, I'm sorry. When we get to the 200-day, that's my initial target. I'll probably sell 20, 25%. If it does it today, I'll do it today. But ideally, it kind of takes a day and a half sometimes. Like the first day is a shot across the bow. And yeah, I'll send you a link. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this, Alex. Since we've got probably some canned replies in the right response, I'm going to send you to info. Go ahead and send an email and put in the message header a center point and ask your question, and we'll have a representative give you the canned reply and the links and how to go to the next step. Yeah, Tony, the older trading videos, we did at one time have Holly AI auto trade, but quite honestly, it was just too much for most people and it was too much to support. I'll just be completely frank, that was it. And so it got more people in trouble than it helped. And we pulled that away and we've tried to nick all the old training material. We've turned it into a manual order signal generating system that you trade off of how you wish. Now, that said, you've seen, and Dan yesterday, teasing that the auto trading is coming back, but it's coming back in a second generation that has much more control and easier use of back end and front end. That's the money machine. So we're kind of in limbo right now. Thank you, Pepe. It's also at the partners section at the bottom of our homepage. Let's see what that looks like. What info is in there? Great, Tony. I'm glad that resonated. Hey, what's up, Patrick? Just find the footer. Partners. Where's partners? Partners. Okay, center point. Yeah. There you go. So you don't even need to email. Thank you, Pepe. Just one last click. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Patrick, I was saying hi to you, and I'm sorry you're not feeling well. Hopefully you've got a good physical therapist, because it's no fun not feeling like you want to do. And I was also talking about how I noticed the gold and silver gapping up. I didn't want to chase anything, so I noticed a huge buyer came into this HYMC this morning, this third tier silver stock. You probably remember that AMC bought a stake in. So I've got a great average here at 217, kind of layered into it early and bought a little bit more here on this pullback, right at the pullback. So far so good. I'll probably sell 20% when it gets up here. That's all you missed when I was on mute. I did also mention I'm going to have to leave at about 5 minutes till the hour, top of the hour. I've been watching the NASDAQ a lot because that's really kind of where the story's been with this AI stuff and NVIDIA and losing all that market cap overnight. So if NVIDIA wants to continue to play this game right here, where it just kind of rolls over. By the way, you can grab and drag, for who was asking me that earlier. I can't remember on the charts. I'll do that sometimes. You can grab and drag and then click the button to get back to your reset. But this up and roll back over, if I'm going to put a price alert right now to alert me market wise, if this price alert goes off, look out below, because this is the leadership stock in NVIDIA. And yeah, can you share your profile window? Yeah, sure, I can share this easily. So you're talking about the single stock window, Hutch? We can, anything that has a right click and a cloud, we can share. Perfect. All right. So even if he knows how to do it, I'll show people what you want to do is you can click on that link and then let it open the browser tab, and it looks like this. And all you have to do is copy that, the code that I dropped, and then you load it. It's already loaded, and you click load, and I got myself a duplicate window. So that's how we can share settings. Oh, Patrick, Dan, I saw Dan tweeted that he chased. Let me show you the difference between Steve and Dan. I can say this because we're friends. This is Steve's entry, and you can check Dan's Twitter. This is Dan's entry. I was a little bit faster on the ball, and this is where I told Dan, yo, I'm big into HYMC, and he still waited, and he bought it up here. But he just added to his position, which is probably underwater already. Dan's not much of, he trades a little bit, but he's more of a holder. I don't blame him. I'm more nimble. But that's all I'm looking for. I know I've got a good trade on the hook here. I'm hooked up at a great price level. Even if it pulled back and didn't hold that moving average like I wanted it to, I'm still going to just be patient, sit on my hands, and give it to the close, because the close is where the swing trading tells me the time frame, what's likely to happen the next day. If I see a big reversal sell-off in the morning and then it closes back on highs, and that's right at a key moving average after 3 days of sell-off and an uptrend, I look at that bottoming tail candle, that hammer candle, and I say, this is the end of the day. This is the candle everybody's going to be looking at. This is the one for the history books. So make your decision. Do you want to participate and jump in this trade before the open tomorrow? And sometimes I'll get myself in good positions for an entry at the close. Or likewise, let's flip that upside down. It breaks out in the morning, and I think I'm a hero. By the end of the day, it's reversed that breakout and closes back on lows. I'm saying to myself, there's no way this candle is going to resolve itself higher tomorrow. I'd be a fool to take this stock home tonight. So, those are just two examples off the top of my head of why I would wait till the end of the day, to either enter a position or to, trim my garden and pull the weeds out that just didn't close the way I wanted them to close. Because a lot of times if I get out of a stock midday as a swing trade, just because I don't like something it's doing midday, it can fake me out and close near highs. And I ask myself, why did I do that? So eventually you just get better at being patient and waiting till the end of the day. Let's look at GDX real quick and just kind of keep an eye on that. So my HYMC is a component of GDX. Just look at this beautiful break of a downtrend on a gap. So we got kind of a pro gap in the ETF of gold miners. Shallow pullback, just like my stock did. And now we're back close to highs. So it just kind of gives me comfort that hopefully it's not going to be too hard to stay in this thing for the close. Okay. Sure. This is how I use my hearted stocks. It's just as simple as this. And I can give you the shell, right? So my stocks won't transpose to you, but it's just change from the close. I can sort from change by the open and change from the close. It doesn't matter. I do both. So there's the actual shell. Now you can see what I do. If in the configure, what you'll do is you'll go to symbol list. And once you've put the heart on something, it gets dropped into what's called the my liked. My liked. And you'll find it, my liked personal. And you bring it over here, then you checkbox it. So this is only going to show the symbols that I have hearted. Now, there's a bit of a nuance here because we're in the midst of a migration to a new platform, and some things just don't get the attention that they deserve. That's not what I meant to do. Hold on. So if I turn that heart off, in the older versions, it would remove the symbol directly from there. What I'm saying is clicking the heart will add it, but we have kind of a workaround at the moment. For removal, you need to go to the this dash, the trade ideas dash, and you've got the account management here under your settings, site preferences, information portal, profile. Um, Find them. Oh, I'm not logged in. That's why. That would help. Okay. My watch list. So once you've logged into the Trade Ideas dashboard profile portal, under channels, not exactly intuitive, but you got my watch lists. Here is where you can remove them, Hutch. So I've already got my liked queued up here, and this will work in real time. My liked. I can go through here and say, just do this in real time. What's something I'm not interested in TGB anymore. Not interested in this one anymore. I don't know where it went. But that's how you add and remove them. Now you can see that I've got live data here. What happened is my data has been stolen. I've got a red toolbar. I've got to go back to account, reset connection. Now the way in which we can avoid that before I sign off, to just show you, we can click right there in that gear wheel and just keep data delayed. So I don't keep hijacking my data. There we go, 15-minute delayed. I'm logged in, the important part, that gives me access to my watch lists, but I don't have to keep going back and playing with capturing my live data. Yes, do that on the website and then it'll show up. Again, you can add them on the fly. I like to use the chart. I can add them quickly. But what I was just doing was going through and culling out with that little red X on the dash, culling out the ones I don't want anymore. And so each day I can come in and just kind of sort my favorite stocks based on change from the open or change from the close. Gosh, darn it. Stupid Windows. All right, guys, I've got to run. I got a developers meeting and we'll talk about some of the things I mentioned earlier with them. Gosh darn it. I'm just going to do this. File, load layout, load defog. Here we go. All right, everybody. Info at Trade Dash Ideas. If you have any other questions, got to run here. Got a couple minutes to spare, so I'll see you guys next time. Andy will be in here tomorrow. All right, thanks.